Ah, the all-American cheeseburger, a section of perfectly cooked beef with lettuce, tomato, cheese, and ketchup on a brioche bun, wrapped up and available for only $1 at the local drive-thru establishment of your choice. Although, if you go to a drive-thru, you're probably going to have less options. Now, I don't eat a lot of burgers myself, but I will say that there is nothing that can quite substitute a good burger. There's just something about a good burger that makes me feel like I'm culturally at home, like my mom's brought something special for dinner. Kind of like a hot dog at a baseball game, or working retail early in the morning on Black Friday. Today I want to focus not just on any burgers though. I want to look at the Bob's Burgers episode, Best Burger, and how it can help us get a good look at Gene Belcher and what his ADHD looks like. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cheeseburger, and with the help of my amazing patrons, thank you so much, let's take a look at a fictional representation of ADHD. The episode begins with our introduction to Bob and Linda, the parents of the Belcher family, and the owners of the restaurant Bob's Burgers, which the show is named for, at a burger cooking contest against Skip Marouche and Jimmy Pesto, who runs the rival restaurant across the street throughout the duration of the series. At first, everything seems normal. Everyday contest jitters set in while Bob and Linda begin to talk to each other about the contest and start cooking. That is, until they find out that the main ingredient for their black garlic burger, black garlic, is missing from the cooler because their son, Gene, forgot to pack it. Gene is referred to throughout the show as the least responsible child. He's highly energetic, he's always making noise or music, an average student at best, and it isn't unusual for the Belcher kids to get in trouble at school or fall behind on their homework. Gene is no exception to this. The moment he gets distracted from a task, Gene drifts away from it. We see it in action every time he plays his keyboard, usually interrupting everyone around him by using it to make fart sounds or little beats. He has a lot of trouble playing quietly. He can be lazy, but more often than not, he's just bored and looking for ways to entertain himself. So it really should come as no surprise to Bob that Gene forgets to put the garlic in the cooler, even though he was directly told to do so. It does come as a surprise, though, one that causes Bob to begin to freak out and scramble for a solution, in which Gene is sent with the aid of his sisters, Tina and Louise, to get the black garlic from their restaurant. And with that, the mission and analyzing Gene's ADHD traits in this episode begins. When the kids get back to the restaurant, and once Gene has the simple task of just getting the black garlic from the counter and bringing it back to the festival, he is immediately distracted by a spatula he calls his back scratcher and doesn't listen when Tina and Louise tell him he's crushing the black garlic. This is an example of Gene displaying impulsivity, inability to regulate his attention, and seeking a sensory object. In this case, something that will provide a scratching sensation. You see, people with ADHD don't actually have a lack of attention. It's like the worst named psychiatric condition maybe ever. What we actually have is the inability to direct where that attention goes. If we see something that grabs our attention, we are more than likely than our neurotypical counterparts to reach for said shiny thing. We are also likely to have certain sensory experiences we either greatly dislike or seek out through self-stimulation, something you may have seen talked about when people talk about fidgets, popularly known as stimming. For example, ever seen one of these? I bet you have. Throughout the show, Gene is seen singing at random, playing with his keyboard, and both of these are examples of things that could be considered stimming. Things Gene does when he's bored and can't tolerate boredom, just like reaching for his back scratcher. Back in the episode, the kids are then directed to go to a market that they were banned from for impulsively getting into an argument with the shop owner. After Gene, yet again impulsively, gives the money that they had for the black garlic to a random teenager, they steal the black garlic and meet up with Mickey, a returning character with a criminal background but a peppy attitude, who agrees to pull them back to the festival in his pedicab. This is where we actually have a really good and informative conversation about Gene and his behavior, how it's seen by others, and what serves as his motivation to do his best to focus on the task at hand of delivering the black garlic, even when he is actively being bombarded by distractions. Now, that isn't to say that you can just outwill your way out of ADHD, but sometimes when you have something really good to focus on, or you have an emotional motivation, you may be more able to tune out distractions. And as we'll see, he doesn't exactly tune them out so much as yells at them as they come along. When Jean offers to hold the black garlic, Tina and Louise won't let him because Jean tends to, quote, screw everything up. Louise and Tina explain to him that his name is a verb in the family, Jeaning out, which means to lose focus on what you're doing. Mickey and Ron, who also are in the pedicab, can both relate to Jeaning out. Just as people who know people with ADHD can often relate to our struggles of keeping focus and organizing our lives, but may not fully understand how hindering these things can be when they affect everything we do. Jean is visibly and immediately affected by being told he's the family screw-up. He's upset, an example of rejection-sensitive dysphoria or emotional dysregulation, at being told everyone in the family thinks of him as the one that messes up, and who wouldn't be? I think this is a great example of Jean's ADHD characteristics because it shows us both how he sees things, basically he sees a lot of these things as really not being a big deal, that's just how he is, and how his family and people around him see them, which may very much differ. Generally, Jean's family, particularly the mom of the family, Linda, are very supportive of his enthusiasm and loud personality. But forgetting things constantly, being distracted, and being seen as loud by others can make you feel self-conscious and maybe even make you feel like a personal failure, which can lead to depression if there isn't a good support system in place, which can involve medication, but in Jean's case comes from the accepting environment of his family. Jean spends the next part of the episode running through the food festival to get the black garlic to his dad while yelling about all the amazing and distracting food attractions on the way. Kind of like I talked about before, you get distracted, but maybe you actively try to combat that, even if it can be almost a painful thing. When he gets to Bob, he tries to have a conversation, but there are only 14 seconds left on the clock for the burger contest. Bob and Linda finish their burger and come in second place. On the way back to the restaurant, Bob assures Jean that he loves him as he is, even if he gets distracted sometimes. And while they both get distracted by the line of people waiting outside of their restaurant, I love this moment because it's a reflection of a healthy family moment that the Belchers have time and time again throughout the series. I think that's what I love most about Bob's Burgers. Bob and Linda aren't perfect parents, and they do not have perfect kids, but they do have a loving family who loves and accepts each other and all their little quirks and weird things, even if that thing can, from time to time, be your son loudly playing his keyboard over and over. Jean is impulsive. He's emotionally driven. He loves making noise. He constantly looks for ways to entertain himself. He's a classic example of a little boy with ADHD, but he has something not every ADHD kid has. He has an accepting family. Bob's Burgers is a show about little victories, but when Jean is able to deliver the black garlic to his dad during the cooking contest, I'd say he had a bigger victory than usual on that day. And as always, thanks for watching. I want to give a big shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much, and thank you for being so patient with me. This month I actually finally got reassessed for ADHD, even though I definitely haven't, and I'm still waiting on the results as I record this, so hopefully I can get treated and get back into regularly making content, because I don't just need to do that, I also want to do that, and I think this kind of thing is important. I also just want to say thank you if you're watching this right now. If you like what you see, please consider becoming a patron. If that's not an option for you, I totally understand. Sharing this video, that actually really helps me out a lot, so I just hit my desk. That's also a great way to support the channel, is by sharing and liking and commenting all those YouTube things that YouTubers ask you to do. We ask you to do it because it really helps us out. And I am so thankful when you guys do. I was so excited to see the reception that the video about Jake Peralta having ADHD, like what that got, that was really cool. I also want to say I will also be doing videos on the other Belchers, Linda, Tina, Louise, and Bob. My cat Gizmo is coming up because he wants some pets because I have been filming for too long, and this video is also over. All the links to all the social stuff will be at the bottom. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands. Please try to remember to wear your face mask in public, and I hope I see you very soon for Pride Month. Thinking about some Arrow Ace ladies in Disney. Okay, bye.